The Medicare Annual Enrollment Period is between October 15th to December 7th. And during this time, folks that are on a Medicare Advantage or Part D prescription plan can decide whether or not they want to stay on their current plan, take the changes, or switch to a new plan that may fit their needs better. Historically, only about 1 in 10 folks will decide to switch every year, even though the marketing comes out and they make you think that everybody's going to switch or look at new plans. However, for this coming year in 2025, we do recommend that folks really revisit their options because there's going to be potentially some very big changes. And also the changes are going to be really dependent on what plan you have currently and also whether or not you've been happy on your current plan. So let's start with folks that are on a Medicare Supplemental plan or Medigap plan. These are the folks that are on a Plan F, if you've been grandfathered into one of those plans, or Plan G or Plan N. These supplemental plans allow you to go see any doctor, any hospital in the entire country that takes Medicare without any referrals. And regardless of which company you choose, it's secondary to Medicare, which means that Medicare is going to pay first, Supplement's going to pay second, so you leverage the entire Medicare network. People like these plans because they're very robust in terms of medical coverage and allow you that flexibility. The downsides of these plans are, one is the price is typically higher than if you went with a Medicare Advantage plan route. And then also, these plans can still go up in price and they don't have a lot of the extra benefits, dental and so forth, that some of the other plans offer. However, again, very robust medical coverage, and these plans do not change benefit-wise year to year. So if you've been happy with your plan and you can afford the premiums, typically what we find is that people stay. Now, there are opportunities to switch, and depending on what state you live in most states, what happens is that if you want to switch to another supplemental plan, you have to go through a medical underwriting process. You can do this anytime during the year. You don't have to wait for the annual enrollment period. But if you're happy with the price and you're happy with the benefits, typically most people just stay on their supplemental plan. And for most folks that are on a supplemental plan, they do have a Part D prescription plan included, that not included in the plan, but it's a separate Part D prescription plan. Sometimes it's from a completely different insurance company. Now, this is the part that we do recommend that folks revisit every year, because every year things can change with drug plans, and drug plans can give us some of the biggest headaches because they can be very complicated. All the drug plans can have different formularies, meaning what drugs they coverage at what tiers and what prices and what pharmacies and so forth. The easiest way is to do a search. We have a tool that you can use, or you can use the Medicare.gov drug finder tool where you put in your medications, and it simply takes into consideration what drugs you take, what dosages, what pharmacies you prefer to go to, whether it's retail or mail order. And most people are going mail order nowadays just because the prices are lower. And the system will sort by the lowest overall cost, meaning the premiums plus the anticipated copays based on your drugs. And of course, if your drugs change during the year, then you're gonna have to pay different copays based on the new drugs that you take. So at the very least, we do recommend that folks use our system to take a look at their prescriptions to see if their current drug plan is still going to be the lowest overall cost and whether or not there are other plans available out there. And that's also to prevent any surprises come January, especially when it comes to formulary changes. We've had situations where folks say, well, I don't need to worry about it. I like my plan. It's not going up too much in price. And then come January, they go to the pharmacy and they realize one of their drugs is not covered. And then you sort of have to scramble, and that becomes a very difficult process. And then for folks on Medicare Advantage, these are the all-in-one plans that include the medical, oftentimes the prescription, may include some extra benefits like dental and vision and so forth. For folks that are in those plans, it's also important to check in to see just a couple of things. One is, are your doctors still going to be in the network for next year? Typically, we haven't seen too many shifts in network changes recently, and the big shifts have been pretty well marketed so that people get notices about changes, so there's no surprises. So the system has gotten better around that, but it's always good to double check. And then the second is the medications, making sure that your medications are still covered and that your current plan is still going to give you the robust medical coverage that you need, especially when it comes to prescriptions. And then the third component of it is double check if the extra benefits are still there. We're expecting some big changes for 25 when it comes to extra benefits. we're hearing that a lot of insurance companies are looking to reduce benefits without having to raise prices too much, because there's the Inflation Reduction Act that's going to be enacted in 2025, where there's a $2,000 maximum on what people can pay for medications, which is great for folks that have expensive medications. But what happens is that the rest of the population is subsidizing those 5 million or so folks that are on expensive medications. So the insurance companies are not necessarily getting much more money from the government to pay for it. So they have to find that money somewhere else. And where that's going to come from is potentially taking away some benefits, some of these extra benefits. So make sure to pay attention to that, because more recently, a lot of folks have come to depend on these benefits, especially going to the gym or sometimes getting groceries and so forth. So again, if you're on a Medicare Supplemental plan, Medigap plan, your benefits are not going to change. The only thing that may change is your monthly premium. And if you have a drug plan, double check to make sure. We always recommend that folks shop around annually for the drug plan. And the easiest way is to use that automated tool to really look at the lowest overall cost. And then for folks on a Medicare Advantage plan, double check doctors, and if doctors are okay, then the next part is to check the drugs. You can use the automated tool as well. Just make sure you still sign up. If you want to keep a Medicare Advantage plan, sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan. Don't sign up for a Part D drug plan, because that's going to kick you off the Medicare Advantage plan. And then the third is to check the extra benefits to make sure that you're still getting the extra benefits, or at the very least, you're not expecting any surprises come January. So those are the key things. And December 7th is the latest that you can switch plans for the annual enrollment period. And October 1st is the first day that you can start looking at the other options sort of side by side. And you'll get your renewal packet from your insurance company, typically the second or third week of September, so you can review what changes are going in place.